You're very welcome back to Soccer Cards United. This is the number one soccer card podcast in the world. And my name is Jason. That's Enzo. Hi, Enzo.
Hey, Jason. We are the number one in the world. I like that.
We are. There's
It's facts.
no bones about it.
Look at this, Jason. Can I open up? I don't know if we have reviews. I don't think we do.
We don't.
We have one. We've broken 3 figures on the Spotify star metric.
Oh my God.
We have 102 Spotify reviews.
Yeah.
And we're still a perfect 5 stars, Jason.
That's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And
There's no haters. There's no haters.
Not yet. Maybe we're not big until we have haters.
Right.
But there's no denying it. The number one soccer card podcast out there.
There's no one else can match those kind of numbers.
Big numbers.
We're still on Zoom.
Have tested negative.
Yes, I've tested negative. Don't have COVID anymore. But considering that we're traveling at the end of this week to Paris,
Paddy,
for the Paris card show, we just thought it best to not risk any kind of germs passing from one co-host to another.
Yeah, I don't think Jason sanitizes the room, and he's literally sitting in my seat. I can see.
Yeah, so it's just all COVID.
That's reckless.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're in a different seat just because you have COVID. I'm going to come in. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying. I've never been to Paris. I went to Disneyland, but I've never been to Paris. Have you? You've been?
No.
You've not been to Paris?
No, I've never been to
France
Paris.
frequently. You're very hipster.
Yeah, but I don't go to in Paris. I go to the cool little parts of France.
Okay.
Nobody.
So we get to do proper tourist vibes.
That's right. The Eiffel Tower
together.
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Very exciting. And yeah, what else do we have to say before we go? There's a shipping promotion on it at the moment on soccercardsunited.com, isn't there?
I didn't tell you about that, Jason. I'll tell you about it now.
Great. Tell me about it, and then by
I put
osmosis, the audience.
October, yeah, exactly. An October shipping special.
Yep.
If you spend over €450,
mm-hmm.
you get free shipping. You put in the code, it says it there. There's a banner. One person has taken advantage of it so far. A man, I can't give away too much details, but from Vienna. Well, not Vienna, Austria. From Austria. Okay. What was I about to say?
I don't know.
There's
a code on the website where you can get free shipping on any order in October.
Yes. And it's FedEx shipping. That's what I was trying to say. I need to update our website. Our website, no matter what you do when you're picking shipping, it says you're getting it on post, but we always ship FedEx. So I'm just unnecessarily. People need to know.
Okay, good stuff. Maybe I'll send out an email to the mailing list about that.
That we're all shipping with FedEx, have been for a long time,
and then we have a promotion going on at the moment.
But it's there. It's a big banner that
flashes different
colors. I coded in CSS coding, Jason.
Wow.
Yeah,
amazing.
Listen, no joke.
So that's us. And yeah,
you'll see I fixed the header. Remember the header went?
Yeah, it was glitching.
Yeah, something happened with the CSS coding. I had to re-update the image.
Right, and you did that successfully.
Absolutely, and it didn't even take me long. I really got into the code. I could understand it, Jason. Jason, listen, you don't give me the credit I deserve.
No, you're really developing quite an impressive resume of skills.
Thank you.
So that's us running our little struggling hobby business. But to get into Hobby HQ now, I want to talk about a business that's not struggling at all.
A booming business.
A booming hobby business. The kind of business in the hobby that two guys like you and I could only dream of having. We have our little shop and our little podcast. Oh, isn't that cute? You have your little online store, your little podcast. You couldn't dream of having a business like this.
I know.
Our old friends, Backyard Breaks, are in the news. Now, we talked about them ages and ages and ages ago, back in January, after they pulled that $20,000 Trevor Lawrence card and refused to give it to the person who had entered the break.
I remember that.
So that was fun. We had a lot of fun, and then they went, and that seemingly did not destroy them. We kind of thought that's the end of them.
No, they had a big presence at the national throwing boxes everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, they wouldn't shut up.
Oh, they wouldn't. Woo, 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 all this.
Yeah. So they've gone from strength to strength. I believe there was an incident where Josh Luber defended them at an industry summit or something.
Just said, this is what the people want.
Exactly, yeah.
We haven't seen him since.
Yeah, Josh Luber, when he was still chief vision officer or whatever it was of Fanatics.
He was so depressed at VCon.
Yeah, he had a rough summer and then he got disappeared. So anyway, the Backyard Breaks are back in the news, and we're actually going to start with an article that appeared on Barstool Sports, because when a trading card story breaks through to a non-trading card outlet, that's when we know this thing has legs.
True.
So here we go. This is on barstoolsports.com, who I'm led to believe have kind of a similar vibe to Backyard Breaks.
I was about to say, I view Barstool as the Backyard Breaks of media outlets.
Of sports media. Completely, yeah.
So they're turning on one of their own, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of all seems like these are the kind of guys that like to shotgun beers.
Yeah, jock vibe, cannibalism going on here by one eating the other.
Exactly, yeah. So this is from Barstool Sports.
This is a case of a bro not being a bro.
Yeah, this is not what bros do. This kind of article is not what bros do to other bros. Now, Enzo, you and I, we're not those kind of bros. We'll take anybody out. We don't care.
We're reckless.
We're reckless.
But we do it with integrity, I think.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, there's no expectation when you're dealing with us. We're not a couple of guys, oh, bro, don't worry, I got you. I'll tell the police you were with me that night.
Now, hold on a minute. Within reason.
We don't do that.
I'm Italian.
But yeah, but what happens if somebody wrongs you?
Oh, I get upset.
Yeah, get upset. So we have we may have a scandal. We may have a McDonald's Monopoly game scandal in the sports card hobby, says Barstool Sports.
Right? That's scandalous.
There have been, I'm going to just read this article until I want to stop. There have been lots of scandal in the non-traditional corners of the sports world recently. Fishermen allegedly shoving lead weights in fish, chess champions allegedly shoving anal beads in themselves, and now potentially a scandal in sports card collecting. Did you not hear about that?
The anal beads? No, I don't understand that.
There was a scandal where this guy Neiman was accused of cheating, and the way they thought he was cheating was that he had vibrating anal beads shoved up his ass, and they were vibrating in a certain sequence to communicate to him what move to make next, by someone who was holding, I guess, like a little controller and was viewing the game. I don't know what was like running algorithms, because like they had like a chess supercomputer, and instead of him calculating what to do next, he was playing Magnus Carlsen, the all-time great. Instead of him, a supercomputer was running it and then feeding it back to him what to do.
Right.
And that rocked the world of chess.
Literally,
yeah.
And the fish, lead weights in fish is nuts.
Yeah, they're fishermen. So, but this all comes. If I can just say, yeah, if there's an epidemic of cheating in all these worlds, that to me implies that people are desperate out there. If you have all of these little niches where there seems to be all this cheating going on, all this, like, it's like people are like doing anything they can to get ahead. It kind of implies that there's a kind of general vibe of brutality and desperation out there in the world.
I don't love it. And you're telling me you're saying that makes you believe that could spill over to the sports card industry. Yeah, it kind of, yeah, I'm glad to know that we're not the only ones that are suffering from increasing kind of cheating and profiteering maybe. In the sports card hobby, there are breaks. In breaks, you can buy spots. Usually everyone knows what a break is. Listen to this show. Okay. There are countless people in the hobby who host breaks, but there are a few major players that break every day. One of these is Backyard Breaks out of South Florida. Most people know Backyard Breaks for giving away a Trevor Lawrence card, but then changing their minds when they realized its value. Pulling that goal kaboom scandal aside, their exaggerated celebrations and over-the-top yelling isn't for me, but it's clearly entertaining to a lot of people. Okay, so this Barstool guy, maybe I prejudged him. Yeah, he's saying he's not so much a bro himself.
Yeah. He's a legitimate journalist, and you treat him with respect, please.
He won't last long in Barstool, I don't think.
They continue to break daily on multiple channels across multiple platforms and are probably the largest breaker in the hobby. That's a claim that I've seen disputed.
Blaze, are they not the biggest?
We got Blaze, you got Leighton, those kind of people. They break a lot of product, hit a lot of valuable cards. On the surface, that makes sense, but Backyard Breaks isn't just hitting valuable cards. They are hitting the most valuable of the most valuable cards. Out of the most expensive NBA card sets from this year, Backyard Breaks has hit the top 4 most valuable cards. What are the odds? Let's find out. Well, now they turn to the collectibles guru, Eric Whiteback, who has done a lot of good digging on this subject. And he did the maths on this, and he made a great Twitter thread about it. And we can go to that Twitter thread now. So interesting to see that this was picked up, this story, by Barstool. Okay, so Eric Whiteback had said that he was going to do some digging into backyard breaks. Then he came back. Update: there is something incredibly fishy going on with backyard breaks, pulling multiple products out of Panini America's top products. The statistical improbabilities are absurd. Let's do a deep dive on the data. It's a must read, and now it's a must listen. Backyard pulled so many product hits out of Panini's top sets that it seemed impossible to have it happen by chance. Many have speculated that someone had been giving Backyard loaded boxes. If this were indeed happening, it would be fraud and mathematically provable. He uses 4 cards for his analysis: the Flawless LeBron Triple Logo Man, the Flawless Warriors Triple Logo Man, Prism Cade Cunningham Black 1/1, and National Treasures Cade Cunningham Logo Man 1/1. He selected those 4 cards because they are undisputably the product hits. Then he goes into basically all of this stuff about the total print runs, number of boxes, all that. So Panini does not give pack odds, as far as I know. So it's kind of hard to work some of this stuff. But he says basically there's one data point that's missing because Backyard won't tell him how much product has Backyard open. So he said instead he's going to solve for how much product they would have needed to open to have a reasonable chance at all 4 cards. Right? So he's kind of having to work backwards. So to have even a 0.5% chance of hitting these 4 cards, Backyard breaks would have to open 26.59% of all the products. So a quarter of the product total. He'd have to have to just get a 0.5% chance of opening the product. That means we'd have to open 1,125 flawless boxes, 5,132 NT boxes, and 2,000 Prism first off the line boxes. And that's where things get really wonky. Let's see how much money that would cost. So Flawless is about 10k a box, National Treasure about 5k a box, and Prism first off the line is about 1.6k per box. So in total, Backyard would have had to rip $40 million worth of those 3 products alone just to get a 0.5% chance of hitting those 4 cards.
Not great.
It's not looking good. If the actual amount of wax opened is much less than $40 million, the math looks significantly more bleak. Now, an anonymous source. Who is this anonymous source? How reliable are they? We don't know. But anonymous source confirmed that Backyard opens around 12 boxes of National Treasures a day. So at the day of writing this,
Shit, that's loads.
That's loads. It's loads. And Eric says, as of the day of writing, there have been 86 days since NT came out. That means that according to the 12 boxes per day rule, Backyard has opened around 1,000 boxes. That represents just under 5.4% of the total population. We can reasonably assume that this 5.4% figure is somewhat representative of how much product they're opening, and now the numbers get crazy. While opening 5.4% of all 3 products, Backyard would have a 0.00085% chance to hit all cards. That's equivalent to 1 in 117,000.
Okay, damn.
Yeah. In conclusion, one of 3 things must be true. This is a classic format.
We know this format.
We know this format. You gotta gather all your facts, and then you say
here
okay,
are the reasonable.
Yeah.
Causes.
So one of these things has to be happening. So here are his 3 things that must be true. One of these. 1, Backyard opened $40 million of these products and got 1 in 200 lucky. So they spent $40 million and they hit odds of completely possible.
And they could have even got a better price, so it would have been less than 40 million. So okay.
Yeah, that's one option. So the option is they did spend as much as they would need to spend and they got incredibly lucky. 2, Backyard opened less than 40 million of these products, but got absurdly lucky.
Okay, yeah.
So instead of 1 in 200 chance, they actually got 1 in 117,000 chance. So that option 2 is just that they are actually that lucky, and that's just the way it goes.
Can happen.
It
can happen.
It can happen. We know ourselves from our own experience talking about stuff. Sometimes you can never rule out the fact that it's just a statistical improbability.
Like Steve Aoki getting the 101 Museum Messi the day before Steve Aoki Football Festival set was announced.
Exactly. Something like that. 3, someone is giving Backyard loaded boxes.
I like that he says someone, because they're saying he could be getting it from Panini, could be getting it from a distro, could have been getting it any which way. Someone is providing loaded boxes.
Yeah. So that's kind of where now everyone like no one could agree what exactly is happening here. Some people said they open loads of boxes. No wonder they get the best hits. Cry more, that kind of thing. Some people said we don't know what's happening. Maybe they're getting loaded boxes from Panini. Some people say maybe they're getting loaded boxes from somebody else. Some people are saying they don't have a Panini account, so there's no one really knows what's going on here. What do you think, Enzo, when you hear this?
It's a tough one because you always have to kind of factor in, like, why would a company? Because like if someone else, if they're saying like Panini aren't giving them loaded boxes, maybe someone else is. If someone else has the capability of giving loaded boxes, it means at some stage Panini are giving loaded boxes. Do you know? Like Panini could be like,
Yes.
okay, here's what we're doing. These guys are getting loaded boxes, but I'm giving it to a distro first, and then you give it to them. That way, it kind of cleans it up a little bit. That's how I would approach it if I was trying to do that. Other people would say, why would a company like Panini need to load, like, just ship them all out and who cares? And the argument to that is just that it's better advertisement if a person with a big online presence is getting the big cards. That way people see it, versus if you bought one box, opened it, sent it to, maybe graded it, maybe didn't, maybe auctioned it, maybe didn't, it could never surface, which isn't necessarily good from a branding point of view, but also it just doesn't. And once again, it seems stupid to give so many loaded boxes because of the statistical, but I don't think
it's hard to
people think forward enough. Like we've seen a similar situation, won't get into it, but we've seen a similar situation with I suppose a distro weighing boxes and kind of missing the with Inception that just came out, missing the kind of it's like you're just reckless. It's like clearly it's very clear what went on here, but it's kind of like you get so lost in it that you just kind of you're not paying attention. So what do I think happened? It's hard to know. I mean, I think with these premium products, I mean, with every product, like there's a point in time where it gets wrapped, Now, is that happening on a conveyor belt and no one's really interfering, or is it? I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't look good. I'm a big man for the numbers. I don't think your man's numbers were 100% accurate, but I do think the level of unlikelihood is very similar to his number calculation. Do you know?
Yeah.
So I don't like it.
It's strange. I mean,
and all four of them were all Panini products, right?
Yeah.
Makes it a bit worse.
Yeah, because if they were hitting similar products in Topps products, similar hits in Topps products with similarly long odds, you would say, okay, so what do you think? There's like they have some sort of there's not some sort of global conspiracy to give these guys, but when it's Panini products, it's kind of there's more. I know.
Doesn't look great.
It's just very strange. It's very strange. Doesn't look great. Now, Backyard did issue a response, which was kind of very tongue-in-cheek, basically kind of like doing like a parody of a press conference, and saying, look, there's been some rumors about how lucky we are. Keep breaking with us, and if they are true. And there's been no statement from Panini as far as I know. This kind of stuff, I don't know. It just doesn't seem. It seems like somebody knows something. Backyard Breaks might not know anything. No, they might not be buying. They might not be buying. Oh, sorry. I see that Eric has actually tweeted this very thing out. The thought I was going to have, he's put it in much clearer form. If Backyard Breaks is getting loaded boxes, they might not know it. If Panini is involved, it might be as minor as one rogue employee. And it
sounds so similar.
There might be no wrongdoing. Yeah. There might be no wrongdoing anywhere else or anywhere. It might just be a complete statistical, aberration.
There's an episode of this podcast that
who knows?
That sounds very similar to a lot of the things.
Yeah. So like Backyard came out with this response and it was kind of funny, but it didn't really tell us anything, But I don't know. This kind of stuff, I just feel like the hobby is getting more and more like the chess thing, like the fishing thing. It's just we're kind of turning in, we're closing in on ourselves a little bit here.
Getting a bit toxic.
Do you know, it seems like it's getting a bit. This stuff is happening more and more. You know, these kind of like there's maybe it's because we've had an explosion in the hobby, and so there are more people now in the business than ever. And there are people in it that are kind of like there as disruptors and are on new platforms and are doing things in a new way and all that stuff. And so a lot of traditional stuff, maybe there was always kind of stuff that we would have all thought was questionable going on, but we didn't hear about it because happening in local card shops or it was happening, you know, at card shows or whatever. But it does seem like there's kind of a paranoia that's sweeping over the hobby at the minute. I don't mean unjustified, but I just mean there is a kind of a creeping sense of paranoia coming in.
Yeah, we're seeing
I think people are very aware. Go ahead.
People are just in tune. Like, it could just be a case of Panini are doing their Dutch auctions. Things are not selling the way they used to be selling. And this is kind of a desperate marketing attempt, potentially. But I don't know. It always seems silly to think that these conversations happen within a company. Like, when you think of it at that level and you think it's just a job, you're kind of like, there's no way. People are like, let's give Backyard load of boxes.
Yeah, there's no way. Why
how is that?
Yeah, why would somebody in
Panini 10 o'clock
care?
meeting?
Yeah.
And people have said it.
Yeah,
like,
at 10, we're going
to
do the conspiracy with Backyard.
Yeah, it just seems very high risk. And
because whose interest would it be in? Like, it's not in any like. I get that like there is an argument to say Panini would be giving them loaded boxes because it does look good and it does grow things and all that stuff. But like, my question is, does it really?
You can make the same argument that if some kid gets one box or some adult, whatever, gets one box and hits the biggest card in the box, that's a better story than Backyard getting them all, obviously. You know, so it's a weird one. But like, the statistics don't look good.
No.
There is a point in time where you do just have to look at the numbers and it will tell you a lot. Do you know?
Yeah. Somebody makes a good point here to say that in terms of their response, to say that good or bad publicity is still good for business. And that's something that we've seen a lot in the hobby.
No, of course. We've said that the whole way through, and we've seen that a lot.
Yeah, is that sometimes things happen and you think, oh my God, this is, you know, the jig is up. We've got them. You know,
it just makes them
and
bigger.
it turns out that then that business goes from strength to strength, because ultimately what all these breakers and everyone, and including ourselves, is competing for is attention, because the products are the products.
Yeah. No, we've seen that even with European businesses as well. I won't name names or scenario situations, but we have seen that back in the day. A few scandals break out that resulted in an improved business for the person involved in the scam.
A period of growth.
Yeah.
Where like all the, you know, you think, oh, this is going to be damaging, and it turns out to not be damaging at all.
No, beneficial.
Interesting.
Very much so.
So we'll have to see what happens. Here we go. Here's a little. This really you have to really have your tinfoil hat on for this one. Oh. So at the Hobby House Breakers, right? They hit a LaMelo Ball 1-of-1 rookie logo man.
Ooh.
And it was on drawn to the attention of Collectibles Guru, and he says, "Nice to see this product hit pulled today by someone who's not one of the few top breakers. It's oddly convenient that this happens today of all days."
Stop.
Now, to me, now you're reaching.
Yeah, that's a reach, and that's from like last year or the year before. Like, that's not even, or is that this year?
So yeah, so what are you imagining? Somebody got in a car. Somebody said, right, we need to put a stop to this. Got in a car, drove down to, looked through the list of breakers, drove down to somebody's house, said, look, here, just take that, right? Open it. There's something in it, right? Just open it, okay? We need to get the heat off us. Like, it's not,
Maybe it was Backyard. You get this one.
Oh.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Get rid of the tinfoil hat. Stop.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
We seen a good
It's just hard to know, because
a listener of ours hitting the 101 Mbappe from Sapphire, this year's Sapphire.
Yeah. That's right.
I packed that up.
From a Soccer Cards United box. Are they loaded?
Are they loaded? There you go.
Yeah.
Well, not the ones we open.
No, not the ones
we're the opposite end of the conspiracy. We're getting unloaded boxes. Shocking.
So we don't know what's happening in backyard, but there was an example of like I just was reading through all the replies and everything, and I was like, oh, this hobby is like complete. Everyone has like the entire spectrum of opinions was represented.
Hmm.
And I was surprised as well by how many people were like defending them and saying like, I don't, like people were just saying like, I don't care, it's good crack. Like they open loads of boxes, let them at
No,
it,
but
leave them to it, like whatever.
if you were to statistically, or not even statistically, if you were to just prove that they're getting loaded boxes, it would destroy the entire industry. It's like you want to believe it. You want to believe they can't be getting that because then that means every box you've ever opened could have been tainted.
Mm,
Now, maybe of these premium products
mm.
versus of other products, but like that's it. Like if this is why it's a huge scandal, because if Panini were actually doing that, which I don't think they do, but then you look at the statistics and it doesn't look good. But
You look at the decision and think something's going on.
yeah, but
Because as you said, even if they're not getting loaded boxes deliberately, right?
yeah.
At some point in the system, it still has to be said which boxes are loaded and which aren't.
That's true.
If they were getting them accidentally, they would still like.
Can I say
you would still have to have started with, here are the loaded boxes.
I refuse to believe that they don't have a link with Panini.
Well, I don't think they do. I think
How can the
buy from
biggest breakers, we break 12 boxes a day,
not have a Panini Direct account?
Panini are just trying to sell shit. Like, why would they not? And like, okay, fine, if they're going through a distributor, that's basically getting it through Panini. Going through a licensed distributor is basically going through Panini.
You're saying you're not satisfied with that layer of.
It's the same.
That's a charade. Yeah,
because I guess unless they're going around to several distributors trying to buy boxes off them all. If they're not just one, then that distributor is like, here, Panini, by the way, I sell to these guys. Like, obviously. What are you talking
It's confusing, isn't it?
If you're opening 12 boxes
of
premium ship per day, 12 national treasures per day, then Panini know who you are, obviously. And the distributor that's supplying to you, or Panini has tried, they know. Like, it's not. That's not like, it's like Panini aren't up in the shadows being like, oh, who's giving them boxes? Don't know where they're getting. Like, they know. They do know. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So
that's a lot of money.
So we don't. The frustrating thing is here that we don't know actually if anything was going on. We just think it looks like something was going on.
Yeah. So
something is going on.
It's just weird. It's uncomfortable. And it's just one of those things, to be honest. It's just a bit shit.
Stuff like this kind of like, it hangs in the background and it just creates I just feel like now when I talk to people in the hobby, there's a kind of a feeling of maybe an increasing level of hostility around the hobby.
But like, Jason,
where it's like,
here's the thing. If we were them guys, right? If we were opening soccer product.
If we were getting loaded boxes off Panini.
Yeah, right. If we were opening soccer boxes,
right,
which we do on our like YouTube, for example, we'd be stressing out if we start hitting loads of stuff. Like we hit a fucking match ball from Merlin of Gravenberch, which is like a $60 card. And after we turned off the cameras, we were like, fucking hell, what people are gonna think we weighed that? Now, if we were hitting the 101 Mbappe Prism, the 101 this, the 101 that, the 101 Mbappe Gold autograph, this, that, we wouldn't just be like, buy boxes off us. We'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ, we stop opening this shit. This looks terrible.
We have a problem here.
This doesn't look good. If we were buying Tops Now parallel, we got parallels every single week, we'd be like, we can't even talk. This looks bad. Even if we're no foul play, we'd still. So from their point of view, their reaction, I don't know if it's just like a classic Florida American kind of like, hey, and they're just having like their lads. They have no shame. They have no shame.
Yeah.
Or if they just know they're getting loaded boxes and they're like, fuck it, we're untouchable.
Yeah. I don't know.
If the cheap vision officer Josh Luber comes out and defends you, then the companies are looking at these guys being like, this is the new wave. This is the YouTube viral.
This is what people want.
This is what people want. And if that's what people want, you give them what people want to see.
The companies don't want people that are going to get 4 product hits and then go on air, then go like, this is a bit strange. Like, what's going on here? This is weird.
We'd be thrown out.
They want people that are just going to take it in their stride and go, whoa,
let's go. No, but Jason, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Backyard breaks become the biggest social media, if you want to say, hobby breakers, right? One of the biggest. If people are tuning into their breaks week in, week out, and it's just what most boxes are when you open them, just nothing. Just nothing.
Mm,
Every week, every
yeah.
day, nothing. It doesn't look good. Yeah, but if you look at it at that side of the coin, the incentive might not be to give them
Yeah.
loaded shit, but the incentive is to not have 10,000 people or whoever. I don't want to give them too much credit. However many thousand people just looking at nothing. Like the boxes we've opened,
Yeah.
Jason, throughout the years, just an
Mm.
unsatisfying experience. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to throw the big hits in. You need the
In
highlights.
most cases, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, because that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I see what you're saying. So there, you think it's almost like so it's like, say in like television news, right? So like they used to have television news at, like, it was on at 6 o'clock, it was on at 9 o'clock, right? And that was all the evening news. But then CNN are like, we're going to do 24 hours of news. And
Mm.
after a while, you realize there isn't 24 hours of news. And so now you have to start sensationalizing everything and doing endless amounts of fluff and filler, because otherwise people are going to tune in and
Yeah.
realize that your whole business model doesn't make any sense. You're making 24 hours of news out of nothing, the same way you're making expensive box breaks out of boxes. You know, you have to make up stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
You have to
Listen,
fill the time. You fill airtime.
who knows? I don't like speculating these kind of things.
Who knows what's going on?
It's important to acknowledge it. It's important to address it. It's important to look at the numbers. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Not good.
But again, like, it could just be that they're very lucky.
No, but at the same time, Jason, like there's been so many big breakers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel for them though. I feel for them because if they are just lucky, that's something that would happen to us. Like they're just lucky. But like even if they're just lucky, I think it could be a case where you start going, "Am I lucky, or have I become a big enough hobby name that the companies are like, yeah, you're lucky, motherfucker."
But then a lot of people just wouldn't think like that, because what would the benefit to them be of going down that road mentally?
Yeah, maybe we're just fucked.
Not everyone's a natural skeptic like us.
They're just like, let's
not everyone looks at exactly. Not everyone looks at what is definitely a good arrangement and thinks, "What's going on here? We need to figure this out."
Get to the bottom of this.
Like backer bakers are going to do an investigation anyway. Look, let's not even talk about it. So, that's basically all we have for Hobby HQ this week. We talked about finest flashbacks last week. So we're going to go straight on to your football week. And Enzo, it is Ballon d'Or day.
Carrying Benzema day.
La Liga is set to dominate tonight's Ballon d'Or award ceremony, headlined by Karim Benzema being named as the 2022 Ballon d'Or winner.
Hey.
According to Marca, the Spanish newspaper, we're going to see a Ballon d'Or for Karim Benzema. We're going to see a Yashin trophy for Thibaut Courtois for best goalkeeper. And we're going to see, apparently, the Copa trophy for Barcelona's Gavi.
Oh.
As the best young player in the world.
But Jude has a show for that, does he not?
Oh, apparently it's gone to Gavi.
No. Jude is still young. But also, I'm hearing Putellas might get the women's Ballon d'Or again.
Yeah.
She was injured for a decent. She missed the Euro.
She was, but it's for the season before.
Okay. Listen. Lewandowski robbed again.
Yeah, Lewandowski is getting the Gerd Muller trophy.
Gavi versus Jude. I think it could go either way. Gavi's just younger, so it just feels like, hey, but like Jude is still an exceptional young player.
Well, it would be, there's always this leak. Leaks always come out, and the leak is Gavi, but maybe that's a leak last minute. I thought the Copa nominee trophy nominees were an interesting list. Because it's kind of like one of those where it's like, do we need to have this many nominees? It's clear it's not going to be a lot of these guys. You had Karim Adeyemi, Jude Bellingham, Eduardo Camavinga, Gavi, Ryan Gravenberch, Josko Guardiol, Nuno Mendes, Jamal Musiala, Bukayo Saka, and Florian Wirtz.
A lot of the Jude class in there.
I think it should go to Jude, who's still only 19 or something.
Who's still very young. Because Gavi can win it in like 3 years' time. Relax.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So I think it could
What's the rush on Gavi?
Because Pedri got it last year.
But there
Jude
is
was
definitely
smoked.
there
I think
definitely does seem to be maybe. Go ahead.
No, I just think Jude is first or
It should be
second.
Jude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Pedri to win it last year and then Gavi to win it this year. I don't think that's right. I don't think Gavi has been the best young player in the world this year.
Yeah, neither do I. I think he's just an exceptionally young player who's very exceptional.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think he's unbelievable, but Jude has clearly had a better
12 months.
12 months or whatever the thing is. So we'll see about that. I wonder who actually are the other women's Ballon d'Or nominees. I know Beth Mead and Viv Medema are
Lucy Bronze, maybe
because they went over with Bukayo Saka. Could be. Let's have a look. The women's Ballon d'Or power rankings. Okay, this time around it's more difficult to call. Many of the players who had barnstorming campaigns in 2021-22 were not stars of the past summer's major tournament. So a few of the runners are Lena Oberdorf, Alex Morgan, Millie Bright, Sam Kerr, Bon Mati, Katarina Macario, Alex Pop, Beth Mead, Ada Hederberg, and Alexia Putellas, and it seems like Putellas is going to win.
Okay.
So that's all happening tonight in Paris.
More for the Spanish. That's always an awkward ceremony, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're speaking all the different languages and they're all blah, 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 and nothing.
Yeah. It's not really, it's hard to build kind of like a momentum to it.
It's shocking.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of, you rarely actually see a good football ceremony. Football ceremonies tend to be very bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you see, like, why can't this be good? Why does it have to be so weird and stilted? Like, can it not just be good?
That's how it is.
There's no
manager of the year?
Is there? I don't think there's a manager. Is there manager of the year?
Well, Ancelotti got it for something. What was that? FIFA Best, maybe? That was best.
That was FIFA Best, I think. Yeah.
My apologies.
No, it's okay. Right, so that's that. So Karim Benzema, congratulations.
Scored in the Classico.
Scored in the Classico, yeah. I have a couple of Karim Benzema cards to bring to France this weekend.
Oh.
And give to the French people.
Give the people what they
want.
Give
them back, repatriate them to France.
I love that. For a small fee.
Okay, for football. For a small fee. For a nominal fee.
Okay.
Whatever you have in your pocket, I'll take it. Do you want to talk about the Liverpool-Manchester City match?
Great game.
Great game. I have some notes here. We can go through them and see what piques your interest.
Okay.
Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez back to their best.
Very, very good. They were so solid.
So solid. James Milner literally shortening his life with that performance is what I felt watching him. I was like, you are too old. You're expending too much energy. You're taking 1-2 years off your 80s. Gone. He collapsed at the final whistle. I was like, that's you. That's, Salah had a lot of joy playing central.
Listen.
Obviously scored the goal. I thought Harvey Elliott's through balls, I enjoyed those. A couple of times he hit it behind the Man City defence, but not over. He just split the defence with a kind of a curling through ball. That was quite impressive. As was Alisson's pass for the Liverpool goal. Oof.
There's a great angle of that where Alisson kicks it and then Pep Guardiola falls to his knees knowing what's about to happen.
Oh,
so good.
You can see it. He's like,
he just falls to his knees, being like, "Does this not?" I think it's just when Salah spun.
Yeah.
I think he just falls to his knees, being like, "Oh, for fuck's sake! Like this is happening."
Yeah.
The drama.
That was so good. I thought Jurgen Klopp obviously got sent off for screaming at the assistant referee.
That was mental.
But Klopp, it was one of the all-time Klopp performances in terms of how he motivated the players, how he motivated the fans. It was like full You know, Klopp,
Mental.
like it was like he had climbed down off a mural on a wall in Liverpool and was like that kind of like larger than life version of Jurgen Klopp, as opposed to just a normal man.
Salah was going mental when your man dragged out with him. Bernardo Silva.
Bernardo Silva at the end, yeah.
Shocking.
There was definitely a foul.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought. Um, before we talk about City, I just wanted to note that I think there's something. If you ask me for examples, I'm gonna struggle, but there's something great about a great team that's in decline giving a performance like that, where they kind of like are like an old tiger or something, like letting out one last roar. Like they're
you
kind of
don't you
like
don't think
they're
you don't think that's the revival of their season? You think that was their last roar?
I think it's like it's not. I wouldn't say they're going to kick on here now and immediately improve again. I think that's something where it's like they're reminding us all with one last great heave who they used to be and who in their minds they still are, but we can all see that they're not.
Okay.
Or they go on and win the league. Who knows? I don't know.
Good result for the Arsenal.
What about City? Huh?
That was a good result for Arsenal, if you're a believer.
Yes, Arsenal now 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League.
Listen.
Oof. And I saw a bit of the Leeds game with Arsenal, and Arsenal would have dropped points in that game at any point in the last 5 to 10 years, apart from the exact team that, like, it was just such a Arsenal capitulation game where Arsenal didn't capitulate. Which is good. They're developing. Bukayo Saka scored again. For Man City, did you find the defensive shape of Man City to be very confusing? I couldn't really figure out.
Yeah, I think
they kept getting in behind them very easily.
Cancelo not playing left back was actually bad. He was on the right.
Yeah.
Somehow less effective on the right than he is on the left.
Yeah, didn't really make any sense what was going. I was confused.
They kind of just, I think Anfield just got to them. Like they weren't really at the, like, great as Liverpool were, Man City were a bit toothless as well. They didn't really create chances. Phil Foden had the best.
It was a bit of a Guardiola overthinking,
and he didn't
overthinking Guardiola.
Am I right in saying he didn't use any subs, Mr.
I believe up to the last few minutes he hadn't anyway. Yeah,
I'm just going to double check it.
And he has some of the best. He has some of the best subs in the league.
Yeah, and the 89th minute he brought on Julian Alvarez for Gundogan, and that's it for the whole game. That was weird to me. I was like, why are you just not making a change? You have Mahrez, you have Grealish, you have all these players, but you're just like, you're just not doing it. You just can't do it. And like,
but he kind of has that. That is an aspect of Pep.
He froze a bit, to be honest, or he was just stubborn, being like, "This 11 can do it." And like, they kind of flirted with doing it for the whole game. It was kind of like Phil Foden kept kind of getting in, But to not use a sub until the 89th minute was really bizarre. That was my big takeaway. I was like, "This is weird. Why is he not just taking?" Like, I also thought like Grealish would hold on to the ball too much if he came on. To be fair, but I was still just like. Why not swap it up? You're against James Milner. Do something. Yeah,
test him in a different dimension. I think it was a kind of a case of Pep saying, I think that yous should be able to do it. And so if yous don't do it, it's not going to be about me. It's going to be about you. It's like, it's like, weird. It's like a test. He's like needlessly testing his players. It's being like, yous do it because there's no one coming to help.
That was so weird.
Strange. Very strange. Haaland had a goal ruled out for a foul on Fabinho.
Yep. The referee report also said that kicking the ball out of Alisson's hands is how it would have been viewed if there wasn't a foul, so it wouldn't have counted. But it was Foden had the goal ruled out, did he not? Oh,
Foden had the goal ruled out. Sorry. Yeah. For a foul by Haaland. Yeah, that's right. It's interesting because like Haaland obviously didn't score, had some chances, but needed to have a better quality and quantity of chances created. And literally Pep Guardiola himself told us a couple of weeks ago that Haaland is not Messi. He needs his team to do it. And then the team didn't do it. Like, it's strange. It was just weird. I don't know.
Just very flat performance.
But it was a good occasion.
Can I say, moving on from that game, because I think everyone's seen it. We don't want to spend too much time on it. I will say
Park on.
we've hit a crucial stage of the year, Jason. We're
Mm.
about 35 days out from the World Cup, I believe, and we're starting to have our first World Cup casualties. Two big names,
Mm.
two big names not going to the World Cup, Jason. We have Reece
Yeah.
James for England, Chelsea's Reece James, who, to
Yeah.
be honest, as loaded as the right back position is, seemingly, that was definitely the starter.
Yep.
All round player, strong going forward, very good defensively, very good defensively. Rafael Leao saying he was the toughest opponent he's come up against. So that's a big compliment. And N'Golo Kante for France, which we watched France play Denmark when we were in Copenhagen for the Nordic card show. France's midfield, they need the Pogbas and the Kantes fit and firing. So Kante not at the World Cup is a huge loss for football, first of all, just because he's such a spectacular player to watch. But it's a huge loss for a very, I would say, frail French midfield. Stacked with talent,
Yeah.
but not necessarily with experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Kante, you're kind of looking at the French midfield the whole time in recent games, going like, yeah, but Kante. Like Kante will come in there and it'll be grand. Like, Kante will
He'll
do this,
do it.
Kante will do that. And then when it turns out Kante's not available, now you're like, oh shit. I'm sure Didier Deschamps thinking, well, I wasn't really going to bother correcting a lot of this stuff. I was just going to
Wait
let
for
Kante
Kante.
do it, And he's not coming. So, and then obviously in Reece James's case, I presume Kieran Trippier will take over.
Yeah. Walker, if he's fit.
He's been Walker if he's fit, yeah.
We've seen Trent
So we have to see,
play
but
in that game because Trent was also kind of an injury scare, but we've seen him play in. He came on as a sub against City, but
he
that's not
came on
necessarily a good thing
towards the end.
either for his defensive
No,
balls.
no. If Klopp decided that 36-year-old James Milner was a better defensive option against City than Trent, I mean that kind of tells you everything you need to know. It doesn't tell you Trent's not good, but it does tell you some stuff about his defensive qualities. I mean France, that midfield that we saw in Copenhagen of Camavinga and Tchouaméni, just for me, it's not experienced enough.
Yeah, it's too young.
It's too young. You can't expect them to come up against. No.
You cannot win a tournament with them too, as your midfield.
Speaking of Camavinga and Tchouaméni, their team Real Madrid beat Barcelona 3-1 in El Clasico yesterday. It was one of the worst Clásicos I've seen in ages. It was
the ball played to Vinny Jr. on the first goal was unbelievable. By Tony Kroos. Oh my god. Clean.
Yeah. Kroos was on flying form.
Unbelievable.
Barcelona should have had a penalty. Real Madrid did have a penalty that was correct. Fede Valverde is just like, I don't know what they're feeding him. But having seen Barcelona against Inter and then against Real Madrid, two huge games, having been so praised early on in the season, like whatever Xavi has in his head, it's not being communicated to the players. I mean, I presume that what's happening on the pitch is not what he's envisioning, because if it is, that's like its own problem. But either they don't get what he's trying to say or they don't believe what he tells them. But it's not happening. Like I saw them twice have kind of like in 4 days have an occasion that they had to rise to, and they just didn't rise to it. They just couldn't get themselves, like they didn't even look riled up at all.
They played well.
Real Madrid just strolled through them.
Yeah, it was an easy game for Real Madrid, you'd say.
Completely an easy game for Real Madrid. And that's the thing. It's just like you can't let it be easy for them.
I say, just before Toni Kroos's pass, which led to the first goal, an unbelievable pass, Sergi Busquets tried to do a professional foul on him and like failed to like pull him down in time for him to score. And that kind of was a nice symbol of where Busquets is. Like he knows what he has to do, but he can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, the midfield was Busquets, Pedri, and De Jong. and during the week it was Busquets, Pedri, and Gavi, and like neither of those midfields works. Neither one is good.
Yeah.
The
issue
Busquets just
Busquets.
if you have any kind, if you're playing against a team that can like counter attack quickly, Busquets is just not going to be the guy for you.
Running around with De Jong and Pedri.
Presumably, I think so. Yeah, but like just watching the Tchouaméni and then Kroos and Modric, like you can't make it so easy for these two fellas. Like they've been playing for Real Madrid, it feels like for 25 years. How are they still just dominating you without getting out of second gear?
These two teams are in completely different phases. Like Real Madrid are still very much Champions League contenders. And they're properly bleeding through their young players with Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Fede Valverde, for example. And they still have the experience of everyone else, Benzema, Kroos, Modric, to win games comfortably. And it was just, that's what it looked like. It looked like men against boys, people that completely were ready for the occasion, and people that it was their first time playing a Clásico.
Yeah. And Dembele has a real problem.
Big problem.
He has big problems mentally.
That can't be fixed on a training ground, I don't think.
I don't know where they can be fixed. I don't like what I'd love to do is just maybe sit him down. But you can teach it. It's like, can you not? Does no one show him tape and say, right, okay, I feel like stop it there, right? Should you pass that way or should you pass that way?
I think the only person,
and then when he says the answer, hit
him. The only person that could do that, I think, that could fix him is Mr. Don Carlo. Because he did it to Vinny Jr.
Yeah.
Vinny Jr. had the same problem, and Ancelotti's like, listen, you're really good. You're able to break defenses. You're able to dribble through. But when you get here, just stop it right there. And then you give him the eyebrows, and then that was it. He became world class overnight.
Yeah, he just went, right, grand. Okay, fine, I get it.
I got it. Understand.
But it's like, Dembele, I'm just like, could someone please coach this poor fella? Like, he obviously needs coaching.
No, it's not good.
And so then it becomes, what's like, if you said that to Xavi, right? I don't know, but if you said that to Xavi, right? What's Xavi going to say? Either no, he doesn't, in which case, yes, he does. Or Xavi's going to say, yeah, I tried, but I can't.
Yeah, he's
what are you the Barcelona manager for then?
Take him out, put on Fatty or Ferran Torres, move Rafinha, and just play.
Yeah. And just play, just win.
Just win.
You're there to win football matches.
No, I feel like Barcelona are like, as a team, are like, I honestly think when they're in the dressing room, they're hearing things along the lines of, if we don't do this, this, and this, financially, the club is fucked. And I think they're playing with that. Like, that's what it looked like against Inter Milan. Like, it looks like they're playing with that on their shoulders. Like, it's pure. You've heard it from like managers in the Premier League before. They're saying like, first, for lower league teams, like first you need to stay in the league. You need to not get relegated. But then when you're 16th, people are telling you, you get to 15th, there's an extra X million, and that's the pressure. So I honestly think Barcelona players are playing under literally the financial collapse of the club if they don't perform, and they're not handling it very well.
Yeah, well, I mean that would be that. I can see that narrative unfolding because they went into the game against Inter, and it was like, we need to win this game or else we're all fucked, right? And then they lost it, and then what they should have done was just say, right, we're going to go win the Clásico now, right? That's fine. We're going to bounce back. But what Joan Laporta came out and said was, he said, okay, we're basically, the Champions League is going to be super complicated from here on out. It's very unlikely we're going to get through. So basically, it's La Liga or bust. So you've taken all that pressure that you just put on them for the Champions League, and instead of letting them leave that in its box until next week, you've brought it out and placed it over here. So now what they were trying to escape from here by going over here, it's followed them. You're haunting these poor young men.
It's not good. Like, you see, like, Jules Koundé, I think, was responding on Twitter, being like, yeah, I've been paid every week. Like, someone's like, oh, I hope you're not going to get paid. And they get up and getting paid. Like, that's like a narrative that doesn't exist in other clubs, really. Like, am I going to get paid?
No, and like, they made, actually, speaking of Jules Koundé, first of all, they made him come back a little bit too soon from injury for this game, because PK was such a disaster the other night. And they made him talk to the media afterwards. He's barely played a full match for Barcelona, Jules Koundé. and you're making them go and talk to the media. Where are your 4 club captains?
Not good.
Where's Sergio Roberto? Like, where's Busquets?
Listen.
What's going on?
Busquets kept doing little drag backs and push forwards with the ball. I was like, yeah, you're getting smashed. Like, you're not that guy. Stop.
Yeah.
Pass the ball.
Stop.
Pedri was great, though. He actually was really, really good.
Yeah, Pedri was great. Pedri's very good against Inter as well.
Yeah, he's turns out he's a very good player.
Yeah, Pedri's good. So that's the conclusion of this episode of Soccer Cards United. Pedri's good, and what an hour of talk that was. Enzo, I'll see you on Thursday, just one day before we go to Paris. Oh.
Ooh, might be in person. We don't know.
Could be. We don't know. If anyone that's listening is going to be in Paris, please let us know.
Reach out.
Or just come and say hi to us on Saturday. Whatever you want to do.
See you, Jason.
See you later.